Welcome to week one of our journey into advocacy and trauma-informed principles. I'm Peyton Barcel, and today we're going to be exploring what it means to be an advocate while keeping emotional safety at the forefront of our learning. I will be guiding you through this 6-week course. Let's start with the fundamental question, what is advocacy? At its core, advocacy is about speaking up, taking action, and creating positive change. But it is more than just raising your voice. It's about empowering yourself and others to make meaningful differences in the world. Advocacy can take many, many forms. For instance, speaking up for yourself at a doctor's office, supporting a friend through a difficult situation, organizing a community cleanup, writing letters to local officials about important issues. As you can see, these are all extremely different examples, but they all include advocacy in it. And that means that there is no one right or wrong way to be an advocate. The key to advocacy is that it always involves active participation and creating positive change. And that really can be a variety of topics. We need to talk about the trauma-informed principles before we can get into the rest of the session. Our approach at CTIP is special because we're learning about advocacy through a trauma-informed lens. This means that we recognize everybody's experiences are different, we respect personal boundaries, we understand that sharing is always voluntary no matter what we're doing, and we prioritize emotional safety in all of our work. In advocacy, safety might look like providing detailed information before meetings, creating quiet spaces, or establishing community agreements before difficult discussions. Trust and transparency might look like clearly explaining how feedback is being used, being honest about timelines, or sharing decision-making processes openly with stakeholders. Peer support might look like including mentorship opportunities, establishing support circles, or ensuring people with direct experience of the issue have leadership roles in the initiative. Collaboration might look like consensus-based planning, rotating leadership roles, or creating multiple ways for people to contribute based on their struggles and interests. Empowerment might look like offering options for how people can contribute, ensuring accessible feedback mechanisms, or creating skill-building opportunities alongside action. Culture humanity might look like ensuring multilingual resources, acknowledging historical contexts of issues, creating gender-inclusive spaces, or centering the leadership of the most affected by historical traumas. At the end of the day, you can always come back to these 6 trauma-informed core principles to help you think through what a trauma-informed approach may look like. Let's move on to types of advocacy. There are many different types of advocacy, but the 3 that we're going to be talking about today are individual advocacy, group advocacy, and social media advocacy. For individual advocacy, that looks like speaking up for your own needs, making informed choices about your life, and setting healthy boundaries. Earlier, we talked about maybe standing up for yourself in a doctor's office when you don't feel listened to. That's an example of individual advocacy. Group advocacy, working with others towards shared goals, building community support networks, or creating collective change. That might look like planting a community garden with your peers or starting an initiative as a class. Social media advocacy is the last type that we're going to talk about today, and that could include sharing important information online, building digital awareness campaigns, or connecting with other advocates globally. Social media advocacy is really good for when you are trying to reach a really wide audience quickly. So that might look like sharing an infographic that you really need to reach about a new initiative that's starting up. Let's talk about advocacy actions with personal connection. Remember, this is your journey, and you get to choose how much of it you want to share or engage no matter what we're discussing. You should never feel any pressure to share anything that you are not comfortable with. Here are some advocacy actions. This might include some research and analysis, education of the public on critical issues, lobbying for or against legislation, voter registration and education, participating in different initiatives or campaigns, grassroots organizing, testifying, or lobbying. But when it comes down to any of these actions, and there are many, many more that constitute advocacy, what's really important to think about is what matters most to you, what changes would you like to see in your community, and how might you start making those changes? As we explore advocacy, it's crucial to have tools for emotional well-being. Let's practice a few together. We're going to do a deep breathing exercise, which includes inhaling slowly for 4 counts, holding for 4 counts, and exhaling for 4 counts. You can repeat that as needed, and it might seem silly, but honestly, deep breathing exercises and small things that you can do during your day can really help make a difference when you're doing some things that might bring up an emotional response. Some other examples of calming strategies are taking 10 deep breaths, doing some stretches, drinking water, imagining a safe and happy place, listening to some music, doing jumping jacks, doodling or drawing, calling a friend. There are many, many things that you can do as calming strategies, but it's really important to have some coping skills when you're doing something like being an advocate that takes a lot of hard and emotional work. Okay, for our closing sequence, we have to remember that advocacy starts with understanding yourself and what matters to you. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. As we end today's session, consider one small step you might take towards positive change. In our next session, we're going to build on these foundations and explore practical advocacy strategies. Until then, focus on your homework assignment, which is interviewing a family member or friend about a change that they would like to see in the world. We really look forward to picking back up with you soon, and I'm excited that you all came to our first video session. Thank you so much.